Hong Kong never truly slept, not in the way other cities did. Its heart throbbed through midnight alleyways, neon reflections in rain puddles, and the constant low hum of ambition vibrating under every breath. People rushed, climbed, clawed their way to something: money, power, escape, and sometimes, if they were lucky, love. But love doesn't always come wrapped in candlelight or quiet music. Sometimes it's messy, unscheduled, mistaken. Sometimes it's a delivery made to the wrong table. Christina Jordan didn't believe in fairy tales. Not anymore. She believed in hard work, in daily survival, in secondhand shoes and scraped knees, and making a single paycheck stretch like a prayer. Her son, Kai, was her world. Her reason for rising every day before the sun. Her reason for swallowing her pride. Her reason for hoping, just a little, that something good might still be waiting for them. Yin Wei didn't believe in fate. He believed in logic, precision, control. Everything in his life had a purpose, a place. His meals, his meetings, even his relationships. Love was a liability. At least, it had been until a tired delivery girl with rain in her lashes handed him the wrong bag and looked him dead in the eye without flinching. That moment shouldn't have mattered, but it did. This is a story about mistakes, about the courage to stay, about the softness we hide behind our scars, and the people who see through it all and choose us anyway. The alarm buzzed at 5:30 a.m. sharp, slicing through the stillness of the room like a blade. Christina's hand shot out from beneath the thin blanket, slapping the snooze button with a practiced grace. Her tiny, cluttered apartment was still wrapped in shadows, the only light coming from a flickering street lamp outside the window. She sat up slowly, stretching her aching limbs, her eyes scanning the little things that reminded her why she pushed forward. Kai's hand-drawn pictures taped to the wall, the crayon-colored note that read, "Mommy is my hero," and the lunchbox she'd packed the night before. Her son, Kai, was still asleep in the next room, his small form curled into the warmth of a blanket 2 sizes too small. He clutched his favorite superhero plushie, one arm draped protectively around it, his mouth parted as he mumbled something in his sleep. Christina worked 3 jobs, cleaning offices in the early mornings, waitressing in the afternoons, and delivering food at night for a bustling takeout joint in Kowloon. Most days, her feet barely touched the ground, and her bones begged for rest, but she kept going. There was no choice. There was Kai. Sometimes, when the exhaustion hit hard, whispers from the past crept in, doubts seeded by voices long gone. "You'll never make it out of this. You're nothing." She shook them off like dust. They didn't get to win. She tied her braids into a low bun, pulled on her hoodie, and slipped into her worn-out sneakers. As she passed Kai's room, she paused and leaned against the doorframe, smiling at the quiet rise and fall of his chest. "You keep dreaming, baby boy. Mommy's got this." Yin Wei's mornings were clinical, predictable to the minute. His penthouse overlooked Victoria Harbor, a glass fortress perched above the chaos. The skyline shimmered in shades of silver and navy as he sipped his black coffee, untouched toast sitting beside him like a prop. He was the kind of man the world either feared or admired. CEO of Landtech Innovations, one of Hong Kong's most ruthless and successful tech empires. At 34, he was power incarnate, wealth, intellect, control. But behind the tinted glass and custom suits, Yin Wei was a man drifting through a life he didn't remember choosing. His engagement to Vivien Chen had been one of strategy, not passion. When it ended, he felt nothing. And that nothing scared him more than the scandal ever could. His assistant buzzed through the intercom. "Mr. Yin, your 10 o'clock meeting with the Japanese investors is confirmed. Also, Miss Chen has requested another appointment. Decline it, he said calmly, setting the cup down with a quiet click. Silence. Then, understood. He stared out over the harbor. Somewhere below, the city pulsed with lives that weren't perfectly polished or pre-scheduled. And for a fleeting moment, he envied them. The rain had started again. Thin, slanting drizzle that blurred the neon signs and turned sidewalks into slick mirrors. Christina pulled her delivery bag tighter, ducking under the restaurant awning and triple-checking her order. VIP customer, her boss had warned. Don't screw it up. Table 7. She scanned the room, heart hammering. Everything was marble and chandeliers, a world that smelled like perfume and money. A crystal chandelier hung overhead, refracting gold light onto the pristine tablecloths. Wine lists in cursive French lined the leather-bound menus. She didn't even try to pronounce them. Then she saw him. Seated alone at a corner table, back straight, dark eyes focused on nothing in particular. She stepped toward him. "Your order, sir," she said, setting the bag on the table. He looked up, sharp eyes narrowing slightly. A pause. "I didn't order anything," he said, voice like chilled silk. Her stomach dropped. "Wait, aren't you table 7? A waiter appeared beside her. "VIP table 7 is over there, miss. This is table 1. Her cheeks burned. I'm so sorry." But Yin Wei didn't wave her away. Instead, he watched her, eyes lingering on the rain soaking through her hoodie, the tired tremble in her hands, the flicker of pride in the way she straightened her spine. She looked like she belonged to the rain, not this world of polished silver. And yet, she didn't flinch. "It's fine," he said at last. "Maybe I should have..." She blinked. "Should have what?" "Ordered." Christina gave a shaky laugh, backing away. "I'll leave you to your..." "Nothing. Sorry again." He watched her go. And for the first time in months, he was curious. 3 days later, Christina stepped into the lobby of Lantec Innovations, cursing under her breath. Why do all rich people need their lunch this complicated? The receptionist raised an eyebrow but pointed her toward the executive elevator. "Mr. Yin's office, top floor." She blinked. "Mr. Who?" "He's expecting you." The elevator ride was too fast. Her heart pounded. When the doors opened, there he was, standing by the window in another suit that looked stitched by the gods. "You again," he said, smirking just slightly. She held out the bag. "Beef noodles, extra ginger, unless I got the wrong floor again." "You didn't." He took the food but handed her a white envelope. "Tip." She peeked inside. Her breath caught. It was more than generous. It was stupid generous. "This isn't a tip, this is a bribe." "Then consider yourself bribed. I'd like to order again, tomorrow, and maybe the day after." She narrowed her eyes. "Do you like beef noodles? Or just poor girls showing up with soup?" Yin Wei smiled, really smiled, for the first time in a long while. "I like seeing you." And just like that, something began. He started ordering lunch every day. Sometimes it was noodles, other times dumplings. Once, just hot tea, but always from the same place, always delivered by her. "Isn't it weird how your entire diet now depends on one tiny takeout?" his assistant had asked one morning. He didn't answer, because the truth was, Yin Wei wasn't hungry for food. He was starving for something else. Something human, raw, real. And Christina? She was all of that, wrapped in cracked knuckles and quiet fire. One afternoon, as she handed over his lunch, he asked, "What's your name?" She paused, bag midair. "Christina." "Meaning?" She raised an eyebrow. "It means grace or bitter. Depends on the day." He smiled. "Today?" She shrugged. Bit of both. It became a habit. He'd ask one new question each time. Where are you from? What do you do when you're not working? What's your son's name? Sometimes she'd answer. Sometimes she'd just smirk and say, "Still trying to figure me out, Mr. Robot?" Then came the day he met Kai. It was unplanned. A delivery ran late, Christina was short on babysitting, and Kai, stubborn, brilliant little Kai, insisted on coming with her. Yin Wei opened the door to see a small boy holding the food bag, eyes squinting up at him. "You're tall," Kai declared. Christina rushed up behind him, breathless. "Kai, don't be rude." Yin Wei crouched slightly, eyes amused. "I get that a lot." Kai tilted his head. "Are you a robot?" Yin Wei blinked. "Excuse me?" "You look like you never smile, or blink, or laugh." "My mom says that's robot behavior." Christina covered her face. "Oh my God, please stop talking." Yin Wei chuckled, an actual, genuine sound that startled even himself. "Maybe your mom's right." Kai's grin was instant. "See, Mommy? I told you he's a robot man." From that moment on, Kai called him nothing else. Later that week, Yin Wei let Kai sit beside him on a bench while Christina picked up an order. The boy had no filter. "Do you like my mommy?" Kai asked bluntly. Yin Wei hesitated, surprised. "Why do you ask?" "Because you look at her like she's made of magic or something." Yin Wei smiled to himself. "She kind of is." Kai smirked. "You should tell her. She doesn't hear it enough." Yin Wei began showing up unexpectedly. Sometimes he was in line behind her at the takeout, dressed in jeans that looked like they'd been bought in a panic from a designer store just to blend in. Other times, he'd pull up in a sleek black car when it was raining and say casually, "Need a ride?" She always said no the first time, but the third or fourth time, she'd slide into the passenger seat without a word. He learned things she hadn't meant to share, like how she hummed under her breath when she was nervous, or how she scribbled poems on her delivery receipts. One day, when she dropped a bag and bent down to pick it up, a slip of paper flew out. Yin Wei picked it up. The poem was short, aching, beautiful. "You wrote this?" he asked quietly. She snatched it back. "It's nothing." "It's not," he said. "It's you." And though her walls were thick, something in her cracked, just a little. She started smiling more, laughing when he made a dry joke. Sometimes she'd even wait outside after a shift, pretending she needed fresh air, knowing he might drive by. One evening, as they sat parked outside her apartment, she said, "You know this can't go anywhere, right?" He didn't answer. He just looked at her and said, "I'll see you tomorrow." Inside her apartment that night, Christina stared at the ceiling, heart thudding. She whispered to herself, "You don't get to want this." Remember what happened last time you believed someone cared? Outside, a shadow lingered across the street. Vivien's driver, parked and watching. She arrived like a storm in designer heels. Vivien Chen walked into Yin Wei's office like she still belonged there. Her lipstick was crimson, her smile weaponized. "You're not answering your messages," she purred. "I'm not interested," he said without looking up. "You think I'm here for you? Please, I'm here for your future, for land tech, for the headlines." She leaned forward. "You're being seen with someone. A delivery girl, of all people." Yin Wei's jaw clenched. "Leave her out of this." "Too late," Vivien said sweetly. "People talk, especially when someone climbs out of the slums and gets too close to power. Want to guess what I've already found out about her?" He stood. "Vivien, I swear." "Relax," she cut in. "I haven't done anything. Yet. But if she matters to you, I'd keep her far away from headlines. Far away from me." And just like that, the war began. Vivien dug deep into Christina's past, her debt, her visa status, Everything she could weaponize. Christina didn't know yet, but she would. That week, Christina's boss told her her hours were being cut without explanation. Her landlord mentioned someone had been asking questions about her lease. She couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Something was coming. She could feel it. It was the kind of night stories remember. Rain slamming down in sheets, thunder cracking across the sky. Christina's scooter stalled near Mongkok. Kai was soaked, shivering. Her phone was dead. She was trying not to panic when a car pulled up beside them. The window rolled down. "Get in!" Yin Wei. He didn't ask what happened. He didn't flinch when Kai clambered into the back, dripping water onto leather seats. He just drove. He brought them to his home. A warm towel, dry clothes for Kai, hot tea, silence. Later, after Kai had fallen asleep on the plush sofa, Christina stood by the window in one of Yin Wei's button-down shirts. Her hair was out, damp, wild. She looked like something the rain had sculpted, delicate, furious, beautiful. He stepped beside her. "You didn't have to," she murmured. "I wanted to." "I don't need saving." "I know." Silence. He reached out, slow and careful, and touched her curls. Just once. Her breath caught. She didn't pull away. "You're not what I expected," he said. "And you're exactly what I warned myself about," she whispered. He leaned in, and for a moment, it felt like time folded. Their lips were inches apart, breathing the same space, caught in the same storm. Then Kai stirred behind them. They pulled apart, but the space between them had changed forever. Later that night, Yin Wei stayed awake long after they'd gone to bed. He sat on the edge of the sofa, watching the soft rise and fall of Kai's chest, listening to Christina's quiet breathing in the next room. He'd built an empire so no one could touch him. And now, two strangers slept in his home, wrapped around his heart like they'd always belonged there. It started with whispers. A blurry photo leaked online. Christina stepping out of Yin Wei's car, Kai holding her hand. Then came the headlines. Tech tycoon's new flame, delivery girl with a past. Who is Christina Jordan? Single mom or gold digger? The articles weren't kind. They never are. Vivien's fingerprints were everywhere. She leaked records of Christina's old debts, hinted at a mysterious father of Kai who had walked out years ago, and even stirred up questions about her visa status. Fabricated, exaggerated, twisted truths made to look like red flags. Yin Wei walked into a board meeting, and before he sat down, one of the directors handed him a folder. "Damage control," they said. "Cut ties. Quietly. Before this cost us investors." He didn't open the folder, just stared out the window and said, "No." But outside that room, things were already unraveling. Christina's boss fired her with a tight smile and no explanation. The cafe near her apartment stopped letting her leave flyers for her freelance poetry readings. Her phone was filled with anonymous messages, some curious, some cruel. She met him one last time, in the alley behind her apartment. Rain again. Always rain. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked, voice low. "I could have protected you." She shook her head, soaked to the bone, fury and heartbreak fighting in her eyes. "I'm not something you protect, Yin Wei. I'm not a brand you fix or a scandal you clean up. I never said you were." "But that's what it feels like," she whispered. "Everywhere I go now, I'm your problem, your headline, and I can't live like that. Not with Kai watching." He stepped forward. "Christina!" She backed away. "You need to let me go. And I need you to let this die before it eats us both alive." His hands trembled at his sides, but he didn't stop her. And when she walked away, it felt like the city swallowed the last warmth he had left. That night, alone in the back of his car, Yin Wei stared at the blinking cursor on his phone. I miss you. Delete. Come back. Delete. I'm sorry I let you go. Send. He hovered over the screen, breathing shallowly, then locked the phone and tossed it onto the seat beside him. He didn't send anything at all. Days passed, then weeks. Yin Wei stopped ordering lunch. He stopped going out. He sat through meetings like a ghost in a chair, always checking his phone for a message that never came. His penthouse felt colder than ever. No laughter, no footsteps, no scent of takeout, just silence. His assistant hesitated one day before placing his coffee on the desk. You could fight for her, sir. I did, he said softly. She asked me not to. Sometimes he walked past the takeout place, standing outside in the shadows like a man haunted. Once, he even stepped inside. But she wasn't there. He left without saying a word. Christina kept her head down. She found a cleaning job again. Started tutoring English on weekends. Her feet ached. Her hands cracked from chemical cleaners. But she kept going. For Kai. She never let him see her cry. But she cried into pillows, in the shower, quietly into folded arms after he fell asleep. She worked with an older woman, Miss Wei, who cleaned offices beside her. One night, as they dumped trash bags into a back alley, Miss Wei said, "You've got a heavy heart, girl. You lost something, didn't you?" Christina forced a smile. "Just trying to keep going." Ms. Wei nodded. "Some people are meant to hurt us so we remember we can survive. But others, they hurt us because they were scared of how much they loved us." Christina froze. The words sank in like stone. She didn't reply, but she carried them home. And Kai, he noticed. "Mommy?" he asked one night as she tucked him in. "Did the robot man break?" She froze. "What do you mean?" "He hasn't come back. You said he might, but he didn't." She swallowed the lump in her throat. "Some robots get called away on very long missions." Kai blinked. "Will he come back when he's done?" She hesitated. "I don't know, baby." Kai hugged his pillow tighter. "I liked him. He made you smile when you thought I wasn't looking." Christina kissed his forehead, blinking fast. After he fell asleep, she stood at the window, staring at the city lights. Somewhere out there, he was still watching the same skyline, still breathing the same air, but they felt galaxies apart. While folding laundry the next morning, she found a crumpled drawing stuck inside Kai's jeans pocket. It was childlike but clear, 3 stick figures holding hands beneath a bright orange sun. Labeled in wobbly letters, "Me, Mommy, Robot Man." She sat down on the floor, the shirt still in her lap, and for the first time in days, she let herself sob. Even if she missed him like breath itself, she couldn't afford to break. Not yet. He didn't sleep the night he saw the drawing online. A copy of Kai's crayon art had somehow ended up on social media, captioned cruelly, dissected by strangers. That was the last straw. At a shareholders' gala, he stood in front of hundreds of investors, cameras flashing like lightning. "I have a statement to make," he said, voice steady. The room quieted. "I've remained silent out of respect, but I won't anymore. The attacks on Christina Jordan and her son are not only false, they're vile. Everything that's been said about her is part of a calculated smear campaign led by someone who couldn't handle being rejected." Gasps. A few exchanged glances. Vivien stood stiff in the back, her expression frozen. She's not a scandal. She's not a footnote. She's not less than. She is grace and poetry and strength. He set the mic down and walked out. He stepped away from corporate politics the next day, handed control to his executive board, and took a leave of absence. And then he searched. He remembered the cafe Christina had once mentioned in passing, a hole-in-the-wall poetry lounge in the corner of Sham Shui Po. He went there every evening for days, waiting, watching, hoping. On the fifth night, she walked in. Her hair was pulled back, her face bare, eyes sharp and tired. She froze when she saw him. "I just want 5 minutes," he said, standing slowly. "I shouldn't." "You don't have to say anything." She said nothing, but she didn't walk out. He stepped onto the open mic stage, cleared his throat, looked at her the whole time. "This isn't a poem," he said. "It's a confession." He took a shaky breath. "I didn't know how to love until I met someone who never stopped fighting, even when the world tried to drown her. She taught me that resilience can be quiet, that grace isn't always pretty, and that love doesn't always knock. Sometimes it crashes in through the back door with rain on its shoulders and a 6-year-old in tow." A few people laughed gently. Christina's lips parted. "I love you," he said, "and I'm not asking for you to come back. I'm asking for the chance to stand still while you decide if you want to." Silence. "Then you're an idiot," she whispered, her voice thick. "But you always were." She walked up to him, eyes shining. And for the first time, she didn't hold back. She kissed him. They didn't rush. He came over sometimes just to play cards with Kai. Sometimes he sat at the kitchen table while Christina edited her poems. They talked slowly, let old wounds breathe. Kai was the first to break the tension. One day, he tugged on Yin Wei's sleeve and said, "You can sit on the couch now. You're allowed again." Christina rolled her eyes. "Thanks for the permission." Yin Wei smiled. "It's an honor." She started publishing her poetry on a local website. Then a zine picked it up. Then a real publisher called. He offered connections, but only if she wanted them. "I'll help where I can," he told her. "But this is your voice, Christina. Your name, your light." And for the first time in her life, she believed that maybe she could shine. The apartment smelled like garlic and soy. Kai's laughter echoed down the hallway. Yin Wei was in the kitchen, sleeves rolled up, focused on the stir-fry like it was a stock market crash. Kai sat at the table, showing off another masterpiece. Stick figures labeled "Me, Mommy, Robot Dad." "I added a cape this time," he announced proudly. "You need one." Christina walked in barefoot, hair wild from the breeze, holding 2 cups of tea. She sat beside Yin Wei, placed her head gently on his shoulder. "Smells like you didn't burn it this time." He smirked. "I'm evolving." She looked at the chaos of pots, the wild laughter of their son, and the calm, steady presence beside her. Then she whispered softly, "You were never the wrong table." He turned, kissed the top of her head, and held her a little tighter. The world outside kept spinning, but inside their little home, everything was finally still. On the table beside her teacup sat a folded napkin. She doodled a little heart on it, right next to a cartoon table. It was crooked, uneven, perfect. Yin Wei noticed it and smiled. "Still picking the wrong tables?" "No," she said, "just the brave ones." He looked at them, this tiny storm of a family, and wondered how he ever lived without them. For the first time in his life, he didn't want more. He just wanted this. Kai peeked up from his drawing and said softly, "This is our happy ending, right?" And Christina smiled. "No, baby. This is just the beginning."